Hello everybody, this is Joe and we're bird watching at the Fort St. Vrain Eagle Cam in the state of Colorado, brought to us by Xcel Energy and Raptor Resource Project. The parents here are Ma and Pa, and we have three little eaglets here having some breakfast. Now, we lost one eaglet yesterday, FSV52, and it's tough to have 4 chicks. That's pretty rare. It's tough to have 3 chicks. We see some nests with 2 chicks, like Kisatchie National Forest, and 2 chicks appeared that it was too much. But 4 chicks is definitely hard. 3 chicks is hard. 2 chicks is hard. These parents are fighting the elements and the predators and the diseases, the bird flus going around. So they have everything to worry about. Some are more experienced than others. Some have different techniques and routines. Like I stated before, I feel like the parents here prefer to keep the food near the rails, and they try to draw the eaglets out of the bowl, but when one can't exit the bowl, then we have a tragedy once in a while. Especially here. We're watching the end of this feeding here, and then our eaglet, it's believed to be FSV52, the first hatched, even though they were practically 2 hatched at the same time. But one of our eaglets is going to crawl over the nest rails and fall through. We're going to be checking that out. Try to get a late feeding, hopefully dinner time. Always like to end with the last feeding. Sometimes it's not possible for whatever reason. Want to thank everybody for the comments. The likes and the dislikes. And the subscribes. I believe this is FSV54 at the front of the line here, the smallest eaglet, number 3. It appears we've lost our audio for a moment. It should be back shortly. We may be eating groundhog that was delivered the day before. And it looks like we have some rabbit on the bottom right. There was a fish delivered yesterday, but surprisingly, there's a lot of furry prey as well. Not surprisingly, but typically it seems like the fish would be more constant. But no eagles are the same, no terrain and location is the same, no temperature's the same. It's like the KNF-1 nest from Kisatchie National Forest. They have, I don't know if it's all the time, but pretty frequently they have probably 20, 30 turtle shells on there. So where they're at really makes a difference on what they eat, I guess. Fish is always number one, though. Where's the fish? And where's the sound? Oh my, excuse me, I could not mute myself in time. Alright, let's check out these eaglets. See if we get any more good bites before we move on. Number 3, FSV54 there in the middle. Looks like it has a pretty nice crop. Alright, I was focusing on this feeding because it may be our eaglet's last. The one that we're going to see fall through the rails. Unless it gets re-nested. There were rangers later in the day that attempted to recover it, I believe. We don't know if they were successful, and we don't know if the eaglet was found or if it was injured or anything. We have no idea. Or at least I don't at the moment. Alright, so we're going to skip ahead. Alright, Ma and Pa. Oh, there's a PS by who we believe to be FSV52, the one that's about to leave the bowl and get on the rails. So that means FSV54, number 3, is probably the one in the middle there, the smallest. Alright, Ma and Pa are out doing eagle things. Who knows what. hunting, chasing intruders. Could be all kinds of reasons. But the chicks are looking a little warm, and our eaglet's about to climb up on those rails. A lot of people say it's cooler on the rails because of the decomposing nest material creates its own heat. So they go to the rails to get that breeze and that fresh air, or at least that's what everyone everyone says. It makes sense to me. Especially being able to get that air blowing from underneath through those sticks would be probably pretty nice. Alright, we're going to watch our eaglet jump up on the rails here in a moment, and then we're going to skip ahead a few minutes. There's a lot of talk about people criticizing the parents, and a lot of talk about people criticizing the people that are criticizing the parents. And it's not reasonable to blame the parents, as they don't think like us and they don't have the concerns that we do and the emotions and the awareness. In some ways they have better awareness, obviously. But the parents will do whatever they can if they know that they need to. A parent will usually not intervene in the nest, even if an eaglet's stuck out of the bowl or if the siblings are fighting. That kind of stuff is off limits, really, it seems like. So the eaglets are left to navigate and figure that out themselves. It'd be nicer if the parents fed a little closer to the bowl and maybe had it a little deeper so they couldn't escape. And also be there to shade them at the appropriate times. Alright, our eaglet is going further up on the sticks. I'm not looking for anyone to criticize. I don't want to blame anybody. But as far as solutions, this has been the second year in a row that I've noticed this as an issue and a problem. A couple years ago, I forget what year, I was reading up, the original nest collapsed, so they put a bionic limb for a new nest, and the eagles happily accepted it. Well, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I think in the future there should be some type of regulation or something when we do put up a starter nest or a bionic limb, that we need to take into consideration the position of the sun and the shade that is going to be available. You know, from the east to the west, you could have a branch there purposely, at least provide shade for either the first or the last half of the day. And this nest does get a nice shadow cast in the later afternoon, but it's just not sufficient for the the time before that. Like, these eaglets are hot. They're like newborns, in my opinion. They don't have a clue on what to do. If the parent was on the nest, it would be the parent that they would be running to for shelter. But unfortunately, the parent is not here at the moment. Alright, we're going to move ahead a few minutes. Number 3 still hasn't figured out how to get out 100% successfully every time. Alright, we're moving ahead here a few minutes. We got our eaglet stuck up there on those rails. We got number 3 still hasn't been able to make it out of the nest bowl. But we got number 2, we believe, on the bottom right here that seems to have found probably the only shaded spot in the nest and is taking a nap. Maybe going to taste some of this food that's sitting there. Our little eaglet's really trying to move around up there. Parent's going to move in a moment, and we're going to watch the eaglet travel and disappear right through the sticks. Alright, the parent is away, and our little eaglet is really really struggling again. Trying to get off of that stick. I wish it would roll to the left or something. Unfortunately, that is not what is going to happen. Alright, our little eaglet is going the wrong direction here, and it's climbing through the rails. It's about to find the floor is gone. I believe you can hear it falling through the sticks. I'm gonna be quiet. We're gonna listen in. Alright, our little eaglet has fallen through the rails. And now we got our other eaglet trying to crawl through the rails on the bottom side. Alright, we're moving on ahead. We've had a few nice hours of the parents feeding and shading and covering our babies eaglets here. But our parents about to go for a ride or a trip somewhere. And our eaglets are going to run right back to the rails. And a lot of people thought they were stuck. Some people think they were not stuck. But we're going to be checking that out. Alright, Mom has flown away. And now we're back to eaglets gone wild. Alright, moving ahead, we see Pa is on the nest and has been shading our eaglet for quite some time, but we have one eaglet that has once again found itself inside the rails. So in a moment, the parent's going to return and we're going to get a feeding, including a feeding for the eaglet that appears to be there's a PS. And we got a fish. Fantastic. That was Pa that left, and Ma has just arrived with the fish. Our little eaglet's running for the shade immediately, and our other eaglet is still hung up a bit, but we're gonna get some bites for every birdie, it looks like. So let's check that out. Alright, now we're starting to get some good bites going. I hope Mom brought extra tartar sauce and some lemonade. Just kidding. I imagine that fresh cold fish mixed with the parent saliva is like a nice cold drink of water for a potentially dehydrated eaglet. These eaglets appear to get a lot of saliva from their parents as hydration. There will be some times in certain nests when there's food shortages that the parent will let the eaglets have their beak a few times. I feel like that's a hydrating method, especially in dire times. Looks like our eaglet might be ready for a nap. That may be an ambitious bite for that little eaglet. I don't know. Mom's probably gonna eat that herself. Holy moly. Alright, we're gonna end this after the feeding. We're gonna show our little eaglet making it back safe and sound to the nest bowl for bed. That's quite a hole we're in there. All right, Mom has arrived home again. We've moved ahead quite a few hours. We still got our eaglet stuck in the hole over here, and our other eaglet has climbed up on the rails as well. But we're going to get another feed in here, and one eaglet is going to hustle right over to the dinner table, and our other eaglet may get a feeding in the hole again, but then is going to be able to escape, and everyone is going to be back in the nest where they belong. Getting some good bites now. Looks like our eaglet on the bottom right is looking nice and chipper. I think we may have an overcast, or it just may be that late in the day that the sun is not too bad. I was on the chat earlier and I asked Raptor Resource Project if they had any updates or were planning a recovery for FSV52, the eaglet that fell through the rails, and they said that the eaglet did not survive, and that since they knew how it had perished from falling, that no recovery would be done. And they also stated that they are still in the works for recovering the unhatched egg at the Decorah North nest to see why they did not hatch, but our eaglet here is not going to be recovered. And I guess that's that. So we lost an eaglet yesterday, we lost one today, and now we got these two. I've been told repeatedly that FSV53 and FSV54, that's eaglets number 2 and number 3, are the chicks that are on the nest now. So that looks like that's number 3 in the hole to the right and number 2 on the left. You could hear those turkeys in the background. Our little eaglet's still trying to get out of that hole. Looks like it may be taking a break. Fell into a food coma is a possibility. I know we're going to see it. Here we go. It's back up again. We're going to see it escape here in a moment. Might have to fast forward a little bit if it's going to take that long. Come on, baby. I know that's got to be a lot harder than trying to get out of the nest bowl. Oh. Oh, here we go. We got our little talons up and over. And we are getting some barriers put up, but we are out of the rails. Oh, we got a little sticky. Eaglet's gonna take a nap. It's worked so hard to get out of there. Thank goodness. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good night. And have a good morning. And sweet raptor dreams to you.